Hey guys, so I want to talk today. I want to get on and talk about kind of uh, Steven Crowder and his idea of fucking Wikipedia. I think this guy is starting to lose it a little bit. He made a whole video. Here, let me just give me one moment here. He made a whole video exposed Wikipedia bias tested and proven. All right, so I think to start this video off, before I start reacting to it, kind of going through it, breaking it down, uh, before I start going into this, kind of breaking it down, I want to talk about how this right wing propaganda is literally aiming at the foundations of truth as a collective society, as humanity. It's not about this idea of who can we trust? We can't trust anybody. I've seen like people in my family go through that. We need to, as a society, generally be able to say like this is our collection of knowledge, blank, and that knowledge like leads people to action, right? But but just just getting to the fundamental base of knowledge, Wikipedia. Um, there is so much research on this. How unbiased of a source they are. How and they're gonna bring up. I just before he comes up, he's gonna bring up situations where things were brought up, changed, and he's gonna make a narrative about this thing. But in the end, those five examples of a whole fucking moving, changing encyclopedia of people who are all like, I have a Wikipedia account. I edit, but I don't know anyone else who does. It's like dedicated people who know about their field, probably editing Wikipedia pages. Honestly, especially like all these scientific ones. I'm not doing that shit, but the people who know are. And that's what it's for. I, as a person, believe that humanity, if we have a goal, we strive to achieve it, right? Like, and groups of people, if they have a goal, they start to achieve it, and that's why we have organized our society in the way we do. But the goal, when you give anybody the opportunity, it's anonymous, the opportunity to edit this thing, right? It allow and give them the one goal of we want it to be true and unbiased, then we're probably gonna reach that goal. Like even it's still gonna be good. And he's gonna bring up all these generalizations, and I'll point them out as we go through. But like, just keep that in your head of, Wikipedia being a foundational kind of human source is one of, in my opinion, my favorite website. Not for profit, not for it's runoff donations anonymously, like the donations just keep the servers up anonymously, like anonymously edited and checked. Like, yes, Wikipedia is the shit, okay? And he's trying to just fundamentally go against that. So I just want to get that across. Editor's note: I don't go through the video, and they're really boring and unfunny, so I cut out a lot of what they say. But I think I still get my point across in the video, so just watch it. Now beep boop beep 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 beep. There we go. I'm back in my little corner.
Know that Wikipedia is the number one research tool portal in the world with over 18 billion views.
It should
a
be.
month.
It's very good.
But what if everything you thought you knew about Wikipedia was
What if you couldn't trust anything you read anywhere other than right here? Don't look anywhere else. Just stare. Just stare right at the screen. Don't watch anything else. Don't think. That's how I feel about him.
going? What if the platform wasn't actually for you? By that I mean the comment.
Again, it is for you. Anyone main page, learn how to edit, community portal. Like there's so much information. Just look on the Wikipedia website and look at like all the languages they have. Like this is something for knowledge. This isn't like he's aiming to like discredit just something that doesn't need to be discredited. And this is a distraction. People are getting people riled up about wiki is a distraction from real things that are going on in the world currently.
person. Is it? Is it? Can that case even be made anymore? Is it for you? Well, one of the co-founders, Larry Sanger, doesn't seem to think so.
Watch how edited this clip
When we are getting
is.
the news, when we are learning, or when we are just trying to get some basic information.
Let's see if I want to watch this whole interview, but oh, Larry Sanger. I looked for it. I did look for this interview. It's not out there. Just watch how edited this clip is. There's a cut. Very obvious cut.
We are just trying to get some basic information. We being free.
The context could have just completely changed in that interview. It could be a clip from a completely different question that they're combining to make it sound like one sentence.
Individuals want to make up our own minds. And if we don't, then there's something wrong with it.
Another cut. Play the whole clip. Give me the fucking source of where this is from. Wikipedia co-founder. If you're going to cut it up and make it look like he's...
It is propaganda.
Saying Wikipedia is propaganda. Let's go back a little bit.
In situations in which that happens, well, the word for it is propaganda, when it's systematic. And that's really what we're dealing with on Wikipedia.
Systematic propaganda coming through on Wikipedia. I wonder if he's talking about people like coming through and editing pages on Wikipedia to make them like propaganda, like the propaganda we see on TV and that isn't like fact. That's what they're dealing with on Wikipedia.
Only one version of the facts is allowed. Then that gives a huge incentive to wealthy and powerful people to seize control of things like Wikipedia in order to shore up their power.
So today we want...
Wealthy and powerful people take advantage of Wikipedia. Yeah. If Wikipedia is like that big of a source, they would want it. But that's the thing, is like, even you can see it in like... It's funny, even Ryan Kavanaugh, the H3H3 case that's going on, like that whole thing with Ryan Kavanaugh, him finding things about the Wikipedia editors. The rich and powerful they don't shore their power on Wikipedia. Whose rich and powerful name is on Wikipedia that isn't just like someone that has a Wikipedia page? And yeah, obviously they want their Wikipedia page. That was the whole H3H3 thing. They want their Wikipedia page to be right about them, which is fine.
To test if Wikipedia does in fact push an agenda with the article.
But that's not what he was saying. Again, predicated the first clip he plays, it's not what the guy was saying. Keep that in your mind. They clip the interview, they make it look like that's what he's saying. That's not what he's saying.
An account. And here's what we'll do. We'll show you an article with a left-wing bias. And to be clear, on Wikipedia, this bias is, you've heard me talk about this with CNN. It's more comparable to...
Left-wing... See, I'm not a huge fan of CNN, honestly. But a left-wing bias on CNN. Left-wing bias. What does that mean?
CNN than, say, MSNBC. It's a bias...
They're like talking about these huge conglomerates. I don't give a fuck about those huge conglomerates.
Omission.
This is why I like Wikipedia, is because it's not a huge conglomerate. It's donation-based, non-for-profit, anonymously edited. It's the opposite of whatever CNN, MSNBC is. It's the people.
Completely omitting facts that would run counter to...
Completely omitting facts that would run counter.
A more leftist narrative. And
more leftist narrative. Like, okay, I guess he'll show. Can't be... I guess he'll show. We'll see. What facts are counter my leftist narrative? Leftist. See this? Like, everything is scary. You should be hating the... like, instead of thinking...
Those are... So Wikipedia describes itself as... Getting rid of that.
Oh my gosh. Did you see how he's like... I'm so flustered from just that word of fucking...
You need him in the... Wikipedia describes itself as the free encyclopedia that anyone can edit. Here's the thing. Only some of the important topics can be edited by anyone. Let me give you a few examples. Pages like Steven Crowder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's me. We're starting off with this
his own. See, I almost called it out beforehand. He's going into his own Wikipedia. I'm just mad that they said something mean about me on my Wikipedia page. That's true. I just don't really want people knowing about it.
They have a semi-protected status. I didn't know what that meant. That means that editor accounts have to have at least 10 successful edits for them to be able to make any except.
So they have a system where more accountable people are able to edit, and some some pages are more like necessary knowledge, and so people who are more accountable should be able to edit them.
Changes. The Joe Biden and COVID-19 pages have extended protection. That's a status, which means the editor account must be 30 days old and have 500 successful.
Yeah, you have to be like a really active contributor on Wikipedia to be changing Wikipedia pages about fucking COVID-19.
Edits. Who does 500 edits on Wikipedia?
No one does. So basically it's an untouchable page. Without them saying it.
Yeah, unless you're a psychopath.
500 isn't that much. People who like care about Wikipedia post and do it all the time. Like that's what they spend that's what they do like instead of social media. And I mean, I have a page, I don't edit that much. But again, it's not like this idea of it's like you have to be accountable to be able, yeah. It's pretty smart actually. They're just being like, this is stupid, I can't go in and type the N-word on a page about slavery. Like that's so stupid. Like what are you trying to say? That like we should be
your days editing Wikipedia.
Well, it's maybe one guy.
We should probably trust people who are more accountable.
Yeah, I mean this is the kind of guy who would read books and correct them with a red pen and send them back to the author, and that's the person who's editing your Wikipedia.
Oh my gosh, no. That's so stupid too. Like what kind of joke is that?
Page.
Meanwhile, yours has 10 edits, which I bet anybody can make.
Yes,
very,
exactly.
Very blanket, where it's like, Alfalfa was in Little Rascals. They're like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, exactly.
9 more of these, he can write whatever he wants.
Buckwheat said, oh.
Have you guys like actually done a real edit on Wikipedia? I haven't. They're pretty hard.
Hey.
Yeah. Here you go. You can say whatever you want about anyone.
These pages are your oyster. Now, here's one that's even scarier. The COVID-19 pandemic in mainland China page, that's a page, has full protection status. What does that mean? It means you have to be an administrator to edit. Only 1,000 editors are granted administrator status.
So you have to be knighted in order to touch that page.
Again, a super hot topic, hot button issue. They're limiting the ability to edit that to a few accountable people who that's what they like focus on. That's what their drive as a human is to do that. Edit Wikipedia pages. You should just trust them. I certainly don't trust you to give me all the information about that, and certainly not more information than what's on Wikipedia. Do you think you could argue that something different than what they say on Wikipedia is? They're just making the claim that only certain people can edit it. But yes, I agree with that. You guys are not anti-hierarchy. People who, yeah.
Okay.
And Anthony Hopkins edits the shit out of it.
Anthony Hopkins, they're like saying who these editors are, but really, let me see. Let's see. COVID in mainland China. View history. Like you can go into it's not like you can't see who edited what. This is this person. He is literally a scientist. Medical student at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. Yeah. Dude seems pretty smart, huh? Ex-editor. It's a veteran editor. I'm just a guy who likes improving Wikipedia. If you want to message me, feel free to do so on my talk page. Articles created. Look at this dude. There's a reason why this guy is able to edit this page and not me. It's not Anthony Hopkins. It's not Tony Fauci that's editing that shit. It's literal just people in the world.
Sir Paul McCartney.
Yes.
And they're laughing about that because they know what I know.
Wiki administrators, researchers from Virginia Tech reported We find a surprisingly large number of editors who change their behavior and begin focusing more on a particular controversial topic once they are promoted to administrator status.
Someone's writing, Dave is dressed like a guy.
Yes, because they're more accountable, and they tend to be the more accountable people that they put in charge of writing more hot topic, controversial things. It's like these people have no logic. They claim to be these like logical fuckers, but they're not.
Went to Virginia Tech in 2007.
Right. Well, that's why we referenced their paper.
Important.
Now, Wikipedia itself, it defines the administrators as censors whose duties include deletion of articles deemed unsuitable, we'll get to that, protecting pages, restricting editing privilege to that page, and blocking the account.
Once granted administrative privileges, a user has access to additional functions in order to perform certain duties. These include messy cleanup work, deletion of articles deemed unsuitable, blocking the accounts of disruptive users. Blocking a user must be done according to Wikipedia's policies. Must be stated for the block, which will be permanently logged by the software. Use of this privilege to gain editing advantages is considered inappropriate.
Of disruptive users. So here's the thing, before we get to the changes that
we have to again recognize that a lot of these editors probably have to be academic because they're contributing to like highly academic articles a lot of the time, and pretty smart people, when you look at like the statistics, tend to be more liberal. It's probably not like, I'm not saying it's like, but again, that doesn't mean it's a bad source. Like, we're saying smart people are bad. Smart people, bad. Like, let's not do that. I think we should still, like, respect people who have knowledge.
Yeah.
It's part of our society.
Test.
Right.
To see if we have what it takes.
But I would imagine disruptive users sort of go against their philosophies, less than just harass people.
I guess we're about to be disruptors in the tech space.
Oh.
And I'm not neutral. But I wonder what items they'll bring up as like an idea of what neutrality is.
So here's another one. Extensive
investigation into vaccines and autism.
Investigation into vaccines and autism has shown that there is no relationship between the two, causal or otherwise, and that vaccine ingredients do not cause autism. I'm going to guess that this is a neutral point of view. Answer, neutral. Wikipedia does not give undue weight to...
Yeah, they do. They don't. I thought, I don't know what if they're trying to say it's like totality, but no, yeah, I would say that's not neutral. Or that is neutral, like it's true.
Quote, fringe theories not supported by reliable sources like the idea that vaccines cause autism. This passage is an appropriate summary of the scholarship on the topic. All right, here's another statement. Okay, the New York Yankees are one of the greatest baseball teams in history. You think that's neutral or not?
No, it's true. I mean, it's neutral. I mean,
they have, I don't know anything about baseball, but from what I understand, they're like the winningest team in sports history.
They are. I mean, if you want to include all the way from back when the great Bambino played.
Right.
You know, all the way to...
is like a subjective term.
Blacks weren't allowed.
Right.
It's not neutral.
And then blacks came in and they were like,
but see how they're making the argument that it is?
Guys.
Yes.
But yeah, if you look at it, New York they're the Moneyball team, sort of, but they are a great team. They're always been a great team.
One of the greatest baseball teams in history. All right, let's see. I'm going to guess that they say not neutral. Not neutral.
Why?
It says calling something the greatest is an example of peacock language, which it is best to avoid. It should just say which is best to avoid. Hey, how about the grammar neutral quiz? Wikipedia, it says,
but it's
literally
statistics.
It says peacock language, which it is
See
best
how
to
they're
avoid.
they're like dancing around the subject. Yeah, it's peacock language. It's saying they're the greatest instead of just using verifiable facts. Exactly what they're saying.
Instead of tell, using verifiable facts. It would be much better to write instead, the New York Yankees have won 26 World Series championships, almost 3 times as many as any other team.
Oh, you know what you could do? You could sum that down to one of the greatest.
Yeah, well, different
Oh my gosh. But they're not understanding. See, this is what I'm saying. Is like they are presenting them for me. They're not understanding.
So basically...
And they're sharing that not understanding. They're getting paid for that.
Which they use horribly in their description.
Yeah, if you state the exact fact of what you meant, it means the same.
Yeah.
But that's wrong.
Greatest is just, it's a subjective
It's
term.
not
More
about
wins,
right or
three times
wrong.
wins
It's
than the
neutral
next
or
team.
not neutral.
Well, You say tomato, I say pendants.
Yep.
All right.
Jesus.
Here's another one. In 2017, Facebook partnered with fact checkers from Pointer Institute's International Fact Checking Network to identify and mark false content, though most ads from political candidates are exempt from this program. Critics of the program accuse Facebook of not doing enough to remove false information from its website. I don't know. I guess I'll say they'll say neutral. Neutral.
Yep.
This is a good example of how to note that a prominent point of view exists, appropriate, without taking that point of view in Wikipedia's voice.
So the entire thing that was an opinion is actually neutral, and then the other one that was fact, like the Yankees are a baseball team, is somehow incorrect.
No, the problem is that they're one of the greatest baseball.
The opinion
I
that's
think
neutral?
they're notable.
Yeah, I would certainly. I mean,
Okay, I don't know.
If
I,
not-
I-
okay, if
I don't,
not the
again,
team
don't
that
know
has
enough
won
about the
more
2017 shit.
than any other team, and it's not even close. What does it say? It says they've won what? I don't even know anything about baseball.
Well, in that case,
3 times as many as any other team. Would they fact check Muhammad Ali? I mean, it's supposed to. Everybody knows I'm the greatest. I'm so pretty. The fact is, he's
But
not
it's
the
not.
greatest,
It's not
and,
the New
pretty
York
is-
Yankees writing their own page. You probably couldn't say on Wikipedia Muhammad Ali is the greatest. You could quote him and say he has said he's the greatest, but you could say whatever, he's won whatever the most.
that's very true.
And he
You
also
didn't need to go
can't
into some
move like a
racist
butterfly.
impression.
Or sting well, you can sting like a bee.
Probably sting like a
It
bee.
probably hurt worse
He
than a
didn't
bee.
punch very hard,
No.
so be like, "Ow,
Didn't
bee
punch
sting."
her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can we go
punch
to the-
Muhammad Ali. Oh wait, you can't. I would say he would beat your ass, Crowder. I would say he would beat your ass to oblivion. If you wanted my true and honest opinion, Crowder, he'd beat your ass.
Lions page and just change that to they try super good and hard. Well, that's what it is, though.
I think it's just one word.
It's
Sucks.
a team I enjoy.
Here's another statement. According to Simon Wiesenthal, the Holocaust was a program of extermination of the Jewish people in Germany, but David Irving disputes this analysis. I've got to imagine they'll claim this is neutral because it's providing 2 different points of view.
Not
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Not neutral. David Irving is a Holocaust denier, a fringe viewpoint that should not be given parity with the consensus among respected historians. Well, okay, but he does dispute the analysis.
So it's a fact.
I'm
that he
sure Mel
does.
Gibson has his If you said Mel Gibson you could have just changed this with Simon Wiesenthal. According to Simon Wiesenthal, the Holocaust was a program of exterminating the Jewish people in Germany, but Mel Gibson has his doubts.
If you
It still would be neutral.
Yeah, because it's his opinion.
Right.
Which you're putting it into a thing where it's not Wikipedia's opinion, which goes against the one just before.
It's not supposed to be
Okay.
about the
So
opinion.
it's not in Wikipedia's
I think I
voice,
see
though,
a trend here.
which is Wikipedia's super neutral voice.
Editing Pluto, and I just want to say, to his Crowder's last 2 points. First, the one about the election. I don't know shit about the 2017, so I couldn't say anything, but he does. He's been online. He's been on this fucking platform for like years. He knows about it. He could talk about it. That's what that's what you should be thinking. You should be thinking, why is he deflecting, talking about Yankee neutrality, and this is supposed to be a takedown of Wikipedia? Why is he talking about that instead of, talking about the situation and whether their opinion on that is neutral? Because his opinion on those things are obviously not neutral. And then the next one, which was about, did you pick up on the fact that they were slowly arguing for the Nazi person, and then said, oh, but it's like a reasonable claim. Mel Gibson has it. Mel Gibson's a wacko for having that fucking opinion. Any Holocaust denier should not be seen as someone who historically is accurate. Like, yes, they should have a voice, but when you're looking at a neutral opinion of the Holocaust, giving them a voice is not a neutral opinion. I was too busy absorbing the information from it to respond, but yeah, that's it.
Here's another one. Princess Diana died in a Paris hospital in 1997 after being injured in a tragic car
You
crash.
still have to.
Well, the neutral.
I would say neutral. Not neutral. Even though her death is almost universally considered tragic.
Yes. It was.
Almost universally considered
Almost.
tragic?
Yeah, 'cause-
there's one administrator with 900 edits like, hey.
Yeah, learn to wear.
He's a Camilla fan. This page was edited by Camilla.
Editing Pluto back at it. I keep realizing things that I want to say rewatching and editing, so I'm just gonna do it now. Um, see how they keep, just really quickly, see how they keep, I'm like losing brain cells from how fucking boring and unfunny these, like, fucks are. Honestly, and see how they're like saying the editors, see the editors of whatever, the editors of whatever, the editors whatever. They keep trying to like undermine that claim, and I'm just going through the first like 5 minutes. I had too much film. I can't even do the whole video, but like the whole video is like this, and the whole film is just me watching. I don't think anyone wants to fucking watch that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, it is a
So
car
boring.
Well, I mean,
accident.
he did
It's
cause
so
car accidents when he was, he was
Running around like
So-
a mouse.
running around like a mouse
'Cause
in
that
LA
was funny.
traffic.
Yeah.
Boring and
After
unfunny,
he came out
and
of
they're
his-
not even talking about
Also, he
anything
caused a
real.
car accident. I totaled my car when I
It's
saw.
like people, this, it's already 60 minutes. It's just so fucking boring. Oh my gosh. This is what I want to even see even more of, is the comments. Look at these comments. To quote my ninth grade English teacher. And that's, again, probably something that brings super political topics into this, and then just, like, shred Wikipedia for saying something true. I don't know. We all know Wikipedia is biased. Oh my gosh. This is the thing that gets me, is, like, people believe it.
Donald Trump made many false or misleading statements during his campaign and presidency to
True.
a degree unprecedented in American politics. There
True.
you go.
Well,
To a
that's-
degree unprecedented. That seems okay.
That's
If we were
not
going to use the
neutral.
same standard
It's not
as
neutral.
the Princess Diana, almost universally regarded as tragic, this is to a degree unprecedented. Doesn't even couch it with almost in American politics. Many of his
But you
comments
can
and
literally like
actions
look at his statements and say, okay, that's not true.
been characterized as racially charged or racist.
But that's stated entirely as an opinion. It's not even written as fact.
No, it was written in a pretty factual way. Like, he had a lot of people said what his statements were like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm losing inspiration. I've been recording for 40 minutes. I have to go through all this. I'm so bored. I have to edit all this fuckery. All right, with peace and love, I'll find you on the outer edges of the galaxy. This is Pluto. Fuck Steven Crowder, and read more Wikipedia.